Hello. I have to work tomorrow, and so I have to shave, so I think I'll do a video. Well, my beard is really big, and I'm really stoned right now, by the way. I think the video that I will do will be talking about Strava, that I really like Strava. For the last 3 weeks or so, I was, until maybe 3 days ago, I was working on my Strava pages on my website, which is not up yet. I haven't connected it, but it's collecting all of the different Strava segments in the area, and I collected like 1,267, something like that, to be organized, so that whenever I go on a bike ride, I know exactly which Strava segments I'm going past and which ones, and like where they start and where they end. And for example, tomorrow I'm gonna wash windows at this one house in South Boulder, and then we go over and do another one in Lafayette. So I passed through 2 on the way to the first place, and then I put my bike in the car and we go to the other place, and then I passed through 4 more on the way back. So I can do that like every time I ride, so I'm really excited. I can do it because it's like going to the races. All of a sudden, you know, like you can imagine all the other thousands of people there with you, you know, and then you're like, so then I guess if you do the same section a bunch of times, you can know where you are, you know, be like, I'm between this person and that person. I want to beat this person. And I became a member like a year ago on the 20th of like April or something, because I got the notification. I think it's the 22nd of April. It's gonna like renew, but so I used my computer last year for work, like from June until December or something, and so I passed through a bunch of them. So I got to look at my times for those. I'm like 95% back over the way back, like 90% back among the women. But I don't think I was hammering on those. I think I was just, you know, on the lollygag pace. And when I go, I don't have like a totally light, you know, like I have my bike shoes on, and then on my rack, I have my normal sneakers and my bike rack and my bike lock and power bars and stuff, you know. So, but yeah, man, it'll be fun to like, you know, pass through to all these different sections and just compare myself with myself also. And it tells me how many watts I need too, because you plug in how much you weigh, and then it sees how fast you go, you know, and I guess the gradient, and it just plugs it all in, and it tells you how many watts that you're doing. So that's pretty cool. It's saying that I was like at 270 watts usually. It's what, like, if all the rides, it usually said like 207, 210. So I guess that's my lollygag cruiser pace. But I did I'm also building a bicycle racer level page. And I did this, so I did for the hour. It's because FTP, it's like the horsepower of bikers. The standard measure of horsepower. It's how many horses you can do for an hour, because that's what I guess your average bike ride would be. Because, you know, bikers are different from cars. Cars have the same horsepower throughout the whole drive, but bikers, you know, go like this. So take an hour, and that's the standard, I guess. The standard, you know, measuring stick of how good of a biker you are. Well, I guess on the flats. or just how strong you are, because then you put in how much you weigh, and then that says how good of a biker you are. So I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, okay. So I did a hour bike race with my roommate. My roommate is a bicycle commuter. He smokes cigarettes, smokes a ton of weed. He's a lollygagger commuter. He was really competitive in high school. He got ran like a 1640 5K in high school, but no, he's just a lollygagger biker. He went as hard as he could, and he got 187 watts, I think, which is like 16.8 miles an hour on my roller. I think it's called the turbo trainer. But I think with all of the things, whether you're on a watt bike or a turbo trainer, and correct me if I'm wrong, rollers or whatever, they all give you the same resistance, so the wattage estimation is the same. That's what the person at Garmin said when I was on tech support with them. And if it's not, that would be cool to, if somebody knows of a chart where you can do the conversions. Because I'm making little maps of all the different races. It's kind of like I'm making Strava, but for rollers. That'll be interesting when Strava starts incorporating rollers into it. And if they have it already, somebody tell me where the button for that is. That'd be cool. Because I'm really excited about cycling, because all of this technology. Because I love the data. I love analyzing the data. And there's so much data now and so much stuff to that I'm curious about, comparing different athletes and different types of athletes, different ages and weights and different terrain, and once everybody starts doing it and taking it seriously, you can see how and then when you click on their profile, because it's not like that yet. I'm surprised it isn't, but when you click on their profile, it would say how much they weigh. And maybe even, it'd have all the data, like their FTP and strength to weight ratio, STW. And, man, that'd be tricky. But to know their weight, then you would know exactly how good of a rider they are, and then you would know, how good of a rider the person who weighs this much would be on a climb of this distance and this grade, and this much flats, and or this flat that is known to have lots of headwind and stuff like that. I was looking at when I was collecting all of those 1,267 Strava sections. I was looking at checking out the leaderboard and plugging in some of the stuff to my bicycle racer mobile pages. I've been plugging all sorts of stuff from everywhere. It's like I just got information from forums and stuff. But for example, on one section from Boulder to the top of Magnolia, which is a really steep climb. It's 13% or 8%. I don't know. Really steep, the steepest road around here. And Allison Powers, who is the national time trial champion, was the 10th fastest up there. I looked at, I plugged her into my levels page because she's the one who took exactly 1 hour to go up it. And so I figured in, because I found out how much she weighed, and I figured in what her STW was, her strength to weight ratio was for that particular ride. And it was a 3.2, which is a middle of the pack Cat 3 rider or something. Not that good. So either when people go on rides, and they just go on training rides, and just up at 90% or whatever, or it's the end of a long ride or something like that, and they don't take the rides, those sections that seriously, to try to nail everyone at your best, because they just don't, I guess they don't have the training time to hit everyone 100%. Or is because she's a heavier rider, 150 pounds, and, that just drags her strength to weight ratio down for a climb. And, that'd be interesting. But, with Strava, once you look at it, after, once it gets all filled up, you can actually calculate that stuff to an exact science and know, exactly, how many minutes you would lose on a 10K 8% climb per kilogram. You'd have it totally figured out. It'd be like common knowledge. And so, and then I guess that would make people better at tailoring their bodies to specific cycling sports. For example, I have a personal theory that ultra endurance mountain bikers in the future will be stockier, bigger than, they are now, but it will be like common knowledge, and even bigger than they are now. Then, like a Tour de France rider. A Tour de France rider is going to be like, Nairo Quintana, who's second in the Tour de France, is like 130 pounds. Levi Leipheimer is like 136 pounds, and little people, so they can go up the climbs, but they're not so good at 24-hour race because they would bonk. They don't have any place to have reserves. When I did the 24 hours of Moab back in 2010, I'm 5'10". I was 175 pounds, and I had a little bit of a belly, and I did not bonk. At the end, I got really, really tired, but I didn't bonk. I my energy held up really well. I had problems which made me expend a whole lot, way more energy than I normally would have, because I had asthma for the last 7 hours and really bad asthma for the last 5 hours. So, but I held up. I was happy with how I held up energetically, and I think that had to do with because I was 175 pounds. Because I remember when I was a kid, I've been bike racing since I was 10. I did a Reisinger Mini Classic in 84, 85, 86, 87. From when I was 10 until I was 13, when I was a mountain biker from 87 until 91. And I remember when I was a kid, I used to bonk all the time. I'd go on a ride, and then all of a sudden, I just wouldn't have any energy, and I'd have to, crave candy, even when I come home. Even though I could just, fix myself by eating normal food, I'd just eat candy, because that's what I craved. I needed the sugar. But then once I got older, I stopped bonking, and I don't bonk anymore at all, and I think it's because I was just so young that I didn't have any, fat on me, and I just, but, once they figure this stuff out, all the different sports that are starting to come up, like adventure racing and 24-hour mountain biking, 24-hour road racing, each one of these specific cycling sports would have, a very specific body type, and so, the world champion of one sport, and the talent pool will be so thick and it'll be so competitive that the best person of each sport will only be able to be the best person, at that particular sport. You couldn't, sweep everything, kind of like in the Tour de France in the early 80s, I think Bernard Hinault was the sprint king, the king of the mountain, and the yellow jersey all at the same time. And that used to happen a lot. It'd be the sprint. And so, and as it gets more refined, it gets more specialized. So, but Strava will be that yardstick that will... that will help everybody figure it out, and it's just fascinating. It's cool. So I'm looking forward to to throw my hat in the ring. What else was I going to say? I could talk more about the bicycle levels, and that'll probably be incorporated in the Strava maybe too, like even on your profile. This exposes a lot about a person, but People, I've noticed over the last few years, our privacy, what we tolerate in terms of privacy is starting to become a lot thinner. Like we're a lot more less freaked out about being filmed and taking pictures and, you know, people being naked in public and that kind of stuff. Yeah, people aren't like uploading videos and stuff, but yeah, like, you know, like Facebook is, and then like Google profiles, you know, it just splatters everything up there by default. And yeah, so yeah, maybe in the future on the Strava profiles it'll actually have your cyclist level, like 5 pounds, 4.3, 72 kilograms. And like, maybe, you know, they'll even have a feature on the website where you can step on a scale every day and it's hooked up to the internet, and so it updates based on the watts that you're putting out that day and how much you weigh and everything. It actually updates your cyclist level like daily, so you always know what you are. But yeah. Oh, but it was also really fascinating when I was putting those together. I was seeing all of these new trails I didn't even know existed, and these loops that I didn't even know existed. Like one up near, 2 of them up near Netherland, a couple near Estes Park, one near Lions Button Rock. I can't remember these places because I'm really high right now. But, oh my God, and Lions is loaded with mountain bike trails. And then there's this really extensive trail network in North Boulder. It's really exciting for me because I haven't mountain bike Boulder in forever. I grew up in Boulder. I mountain bike Boulder well, from 87 until 91. And I think, and then, you know, occasionally since then, I think Batasso opened up like in 92 or something, because I don't remember riding it in high school. I remember going up and doing this really steep climb in a left-hand canyon, like really steep like this. And and then I go over and do like Lick Skillet, I think, and different, those really steep dirt roads and around there, and up in the mountains, you know. Can't remember the name. But yeah, I love that stuff. And now there's so many new trails. For example, Hall Ranch, that didn't exist. I only did that once like 10 years ago. And then there's this one, Hale, which goes all the way to Hall. Like you can go from here to Lions on the dirt. You can go from here past North Boulder Reservoir on the dirt, and then that goes to Hale, which is in the mountains, all the way to Hall around this loop and then back. Like, oh my God, it's insane. And there are loops, they're Strava loops that people made already. And there's already hundreds of people on them. It's like, I feel like I lived in Boulder, and then I jumped in a time machine, and then like all these years went by, and then I jumped out, and Boulder is like amazing. All this, you got healthcare and weeds legal and the Strava, and then Google Earth to like put together really big rides with Google Earth. I put these big ones together on my map back there. It's on my dining room table. And yeah, just a piece like, and then make that a Strava loop, you know. No, people haven't made really big Strava loops yet, like 100-mile ones. And yeah, I mean, just to, because you know, you could make a really good loop, and then it could be known, lots of people could do it, which would motivate lots of other people could do it, and then it just becomes this just huge, awesome like mountain bike loop. You know, like there's this one that's bold, and I've only ridden up here a couple times, and I've never done this one, but up above Eldora and then over the Continental Divide on the other side, and there's this trail that just goes right along the top of these like 13,000 foot mountains up to the Gray Peak, and then around and then down, and then you come back and like all on dirt roads and trails, and it's just a big old ride. Yeah, and I haven't been done any of that, you know, And I wish I knew how good of a rider I was when I was younger. That was back in the days before I never paid attention to that stuff. I never timed myself on anything. I don't know anything. I was hanging out with my buddy Arian, who was a really good biker. He was won the Red Deer Mini Classic twice. It was his third one year. And he said when he was 14, he went from up Flagstaff to the top in like 29 minutes, which is like better than the best girl. The best girl is like 32 minutes, I think. Best guy is like 21 minutes or something like that. And up to the Flagstaff turnoff in like 11:45. I think that's faster than the fastest girl, or maybe like up there, fastest guy. So that's pretty good. Yeah, and when my brother was 12, he went up in car in 6:17. I saw that from a newspaper clipping, and then other 15-year-old did it in 5:23. Greg Miller. And then Jimmy Killen went on 5:25 and Adam Wright in 5:29. So, and then in Strava, Colby Pierce went up in 5:06. He's like the fourth fastest. So, representing for Boulder, that's pretty badass. I have a YouTube video of me going up when I'm 11, and I guessed that was like 7:05 because, like I was 22 seconds after Chris Wary, and I figured he was like 30 seconds after my brother because he was 1 year younger. So the fastest girl is like 6:51. So, and I haven't even timed myself up this yet. I haven't written up that since like high school. I don't know. So, I mean, I feel like a total foreigner here. So I'm totally fired up about this, and so I'm so excited to see where I am. But I did time myself when I was here back in 2008, and I got 33:08 from Lyons to Boulder, and that puts me like 90% of the way back, like really bad. But I don't think I was like strong then. I'm not the kind of person who can just jump on a bike and be really strong. But it's really cool that I'm getting into it from the absolute bottom. When I did my bicycle level test a couple weeks ago, my roommate did 187 watts, but he weighs 155 pounds, so he's at 2.7. Kilogram to watt, and but I'm 185 pounds at 193 watts, so I'm 2.2, so 2.3, so he's 0.5 better than me. So if we're gonna go on a ride up in the mountains, he beat me. So what I want to do is actually I'm gonna get stronger though if I'm gonna start working. But I don't think I'm gonna work. I think I'll work tomorrow and then I won't work. So we have to do a test soon. But anyways, yeah, I want to like look on Strava and like look at all the different riders and kind of guess, like see if I can Google them and stuff, and see if I can guess like which level of rider they are, and then guess. Or no, look at their watts, of course. Look at their watts, and then see if I can find out how much they weigh. But you can only do that with the pros. But I guess you can guess. But try to figure out what level of rider they are, and then then use that and place my roommate and I in there and try to guess what place we would get. Be like, here's probably where the 2.2s are. And then do the race and see where I am. Like, all that stuff, all that data analyzation. And to just see how many levels I go up. Because I have 50 levels, from 50 to 1. And I have, I think, 50 levels in each category, in watts and in bicycle racer level. So so to do the test like all the time and then just watch myself rise up, and see how high I can get, find out where my ceiling is, or And yeah, just do the tests all the time. I'm rigging up my site to be not just Strava, but also like different. I'm sure Strava will incorporate this later, but have it all broken up into different categories. I think they do on Garmin's site, because Garmin kind of has a site that kind of competes with Strava, and they'd have it. I think like my best 10K, 5K, 50K, 100K, and so you do it, and then it gets plugged into it, and so you would do the races, all through the winter on your rollers. When I get into shape, if I get into shape during the winter time, like next winter, I want to ride just get in shape on my rollers, like ride 100 miles a day on my rollers. And then you can just analyze all the data on Strava and watch how yourself get stronger. Perfect, totally scientifically, because it's all in the same, environment at 100 miles a day for a month. So you can watch yourself get weaker as you get tired, and then have your second wind or whatever. That'd be interesting. So, the Strava helps do all this kind of crazy stuff. It's awesome. So am I all done with? I want to see. It totally motivates me to ride all the time, because there's so many different sections. 1,267. So each section I go to, it's like going to a race. It's the same thing. It's like, the same level of excitement and novelty, because if a race, it's something you only get to go to once a year. But same thing for a segment. If you're going to go to all of them, if you have to rotate them like that, so it's like, okay, I'm going to do as good as I can on this one, because I won't be back for another year. And it's also cool because if you don't go to each one between a year, when you plug it in, you can look at the segment, I guess, doesn't it? And it would tell you how much better you got from your previous. So as the yearly rotation, you get to see how you're, exactly. It'll be really exciting that way. To do a whole round while I'm getting in shape on my old bikes, and then get the new bikes, and then hit it really hard and watch, and then just get really fired up about it. And it could kind of I think it's kind of like how YouTube, the whole wiki, the whole what's it called, social media thing, where everybody contributes, is taking over. Corporate, controlled mainstream media, where it's controlled by just a few people. Maybe like Strava will kind of take over in terms of, exposure to races. Races will always be really important, but Strava, some people, maybe some people will just be Strava specialists, and they'll be stars for that. I guess once it gets serious, they'd have to figure out a way to prove that you're not cheating. Once they have electrical bikes, so I guess it'll always be on an honor system. But I think in the future, it'll magically, just turn out to be an honor system. We always live in an honor system, anyways. When you buy stuff, you can always rip the store off and get away with it, just wait till I'm not looking. We don't do that, because we all want the world to work, and I think that's how that'll work in the future. And also from just embarrassment, because people who do the Strava will also be showing up at races. It's just that some people, they won't show up as many races. Some people show up at all the races and they won't care about Strava at all. Some people show up at 3 races of the year, and the whole rest of the time they're trying to be as high as they can on Strava. But but I think people take it. I think people are going to take it real seriously. Oh, but I got smoked, dude, when I did it. On the road, I got smoked. But I haven't hammered one yet. But tomorrow I want to do it. So I'm really excited about tomorrow. See what place I got. Well, actually, no, I did. The one from Lyons to Boulder, which makes me really bad, man. And also the Haystack time trial, I timed myself back in 2008, and I got 51 minutes, which makes me really... I think the fastest dude is 21. Fastest woman is twice fast. Fastest woman is 37, so... But, But and on the climbs, I went on Patasso a couple times last year, and I was last. I I only, after like 1,000 people, I only beat a couple people. And, 95% of the women were better than me. But I won a section. The one from Benjamin Moot to the river. So that was pretty cool when I came up and I saw my picture there. Yeah! So, and now they have pictures for the top 3 as you go down the list. And they'll probably put pictures of everybody as you go down the list. So that's pretty cool, man. To personalize it. Yeah, because there's people who, there's like already big names up there, like there's the best climber is this dude Yannick Ekman, who's this 20-year-old German kid. Don't know how much he weighs, but this kid I went to high school with, Colby Pierce, I saw him up there. He got beaten by Lisa Nordin, who's by like 2 minutes on St. Vrain, who's a silver medal in the triathlon. Like all the best riders in the world in Boulder are the leaders of Strava. Taylor Finney has, I think, the most out of all the guys. Peter Stetina has a bunch of them. Evelyn Stevens has a bunch of them. Yeah, man, lots of... and then like really old people kicking ass. Leonard Zinn. I don't know how old he is. I want to Google him and see how old he is, if he's like 60, because he's up there like as good as the best women on some of these climbs. And Ned Overend, I think he's 60 years old. He did Mount Evans in 2 hours and like 20 seconds. That kind of stuff I love to see because I'm 40 years old and I want to like feel young. I don't feel like I'm 20 years old. So if I see Ned Overend going up there, I think he's the 4th fastest at 60. I'm like, yes. So yeah, man, for the next 10 years, I'm going to hammer. I'm totally excited. So anyways, my site isn't up yet. I made it because Strava's not really that good with organizing the sections. For example, I saw a section from 36 all the way to the hill after Jamestown, and I wanted to put it on my site, but I couldn't find it again. So I have a cool way to organize it. So whenever I go to a place or when I go on a ride, I can find it really well. I just find the road and I find it on my site. So anyways, that'll be up. I don't have it linked yet. I'll be up later. I think I have rambled on enough. So I'll do some more videos later, okay? All right. Peace out.